Hey everyone, my name is Jose, and here I'll show you how to have the most material design setup on your phone using as many open source apps as possible. Just to establish some context, Material U or Material Design is a visual and graphic standard made by Google to make apps have a basic yet clean appearance with adaptive colors depending on your wallpaper colors. And some people really take material design to heart. And since I reviewed a bunch of open source apps that are also based on Material Design 3, we can make a very compelling Android setup. Before we get started, just know that everything I will be talking about will be linked in the description for your convenience. So with your phone of choice, preferably with Android 12, and you could flash the Pixel Experience ROM for a more clean experience, especially with pixel visuals, but that's not required by any means unless you want root access and you want something like a control center with material design tiles. This phone I have here, the Solana Mobile Saga, already has stock Android, so it's already gonna have a similar experience to what you can expect with a Pixel phone. The first thing we'll be doing is installing Lawnchair, which is an open source app and will give us a launcher similar to stock Android, yet has more customization. Let's also download Lawn Icons, which will give us a material design icon for the majority of our apps. The next app we need is from the Play Store or Aurora Store, and unfortunately, it's not open source, and this is the only necessary proprietary application we need. It's called Shortcut Maker, and we need this to give our non-supported apps a custom icon. However, it's not too much of a problem as long as you disable its internet access via a firewall block list, or some OEMs allow you to disable internet access in the app settings, but stock Android doesn't have this, unfortunately. Let's go to our settings app, and we're gonna change our launcher to Lawn Chair, and once we do that, you can see that instantly it is going to be applied. On your home screen, press and hold to make this menu appear, then hit General, then Icon Style, Allow, select Lawn Icons, and just like that, it's instantly being applied to our home screen and our app drawer. And to quickly remove the search bar from our home screen, go back to Home Settings and make sure to go back to the main menu, select Dock, and uncheck Show Search Bar. And now it's been removed. Also on the icon style section, select Themed Icons and have home screen and app drawer applied for a consistent look. Now, here's the fun part. Of course, many of Google's apps are material design, like this Contacts app, but we don't want that. We want open source. Same with Google's file manager. Material design, of course, but it's not FOSS. That's why if you go down in the description, I have inserted a list of open source applications that support Material Design 3, from contacts to calculator to everything. And these apps are what make this idea possible. Material design and open source apps for a really based Android setup that is actually really good. So on this screen, here's the basic proprietary apps that have material design support from Lawn Icons, like the Google apps. But then on this page, here are all the same fundamental apps that are open source, yet not all of those dynamic icons are applied. That's why we downloaded Shortcut Maker, and like I said, you can deny internet access to this app if you want via DNS, local VPN profile, OEM app settings, however way you would want it to be. On the home screen, press and hold and select widgets, and you have to search for Shortcut Maker and drag the shortcut widget onto your home screen. Then select apps on the top left, and for this example, let's select this open source contacts app. Then we can hit icon, and we have two options. We can start with themed and select one from here, or we can go back to icons and select lawn icons. Then in the search, we need to search for contacts. And we can select one of these icons. And we generally want our widget to be around 90% just to keep it proportional. And when we go to style, we can select this circle. Then back to icons. Everything seems fine, and we can check it to exit out and then hit create shortcut. Look at that. We have a material design application that is open source and supports material design icon. When we click on the shortcut, it instantly opens into the app. It's not a duplication of the app, but rather just launches the app almost like if it was a native launch. And it looks pretty good. Would you look at that? So let's just do a quick overview of all of my material design apps that are open source. And as you can see, they all look pretty consistent with each other because of course, they're all using Material Design 3. And it's just amazing that we now have open source apps that have a very clean, consistent icon and consistent app UI. And again, of course, all of these are open source apps. And on this page, these are all proprietary apps. Of course, not all of these proprietary apps support Material Design 3, but even though they did support the Material Design 3 icon from the start, it's just better that we have made a consistent home look. Some final things to say is make sure to check out my list on throne.com for all the open source apps I have reviewed. There are some really cool apps on there. Not all of them are Material Design 3, of course, but I have categorized them anyways for your convenience in making this project possible. Sorry it's not a GitHub README file, but I found organization to be easier on Throne, so that's why. Also, there's a very small number of apps that are not available as both open source and Material Design 3, but I put up some free, clean, false alternatives anyways. One of them is an email client. The best we have is Fairmail, which is open source, but isn't based on Material Design 3. And it's probably the best thing we have at this moment, in my opinion, for open source email apps for Android. But until then, I really hope we get apps that are missing so that we can fill in the gaps for a truly 100% Material Design 3 phone, all based on open source apps. And even so, there's still a number of cool closed source apps like this weather app that is based on Material Design 3, and it looks really, really cool. And if you're okay with closed source apps, then by all means, like, get these Material Design 3 apps. Like, the whole point is making it on Material Design 3 regardless of open source or closed source, but since there's already a lot of open source apps based on MD3, then might as well. And as for widgets, some of these open source apps actually have Material Design 3 widgets, so that's a pretty big win overall for widgets. Also, if you're new here, hi, I'm Jose, and I publish YouTube shorts every week with a majority of the apps on my throne.com list being apps that I have already reviewed because they're really cool open source apps, and of course, a lot of them are based on Material Design 3, which is really elegant. So if you appreciate my efforts in providing you reviews for these really cool open source apps that with really cool, clean UIs, then sure, please subscribe. But that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video to be, very awesome and super based for being open source and Material Design 3, of course. And a big thank you and shout out to this user on GitHub for having a really massive master list of open source and proprietary apps based on Material Design 3, which is really cool and basically helped me out a lot in this video for the apps that I couldn't really find, such as an email client and whatnot. So make sure to check out that list. Super awesome, super based. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Bye bye.